What's up, Nova Heads? It's Amber Nova.
This is Chris Lights Out Lytle.
Hi, this is Ray Boom Boom Mancini.
Ice Boogie.
It's the real and raw August Artois.
This is Smiling Sam Alvey.
It's Archimedes.
I'm Jack Cartwheel, the real deal, the human highlight reel.
This is Steve Mowry.
I'm Victor Henry.
Floyd Bulletproof Trooper.
Billy Starks.
It's ECW Original, The Enforcer, C.W. Anderson.
This is Honest John.
Hyper Street. I'm
Luis Moreno.
And it's Mr. Classic.
Anthony Noe.
I'm Jason Punet.
The Young Ghost.
Peace!
It's old Hattie Price here.
When I say what's my name, Snipes.
Richie Slade.
My name is Gino Rivera, the Frank Sinatra of the Spanish Mafia.
The incredible one, Anthony Idol.
This is Ken Shamrock.
The Golden Boy, Jordan Clearwater.
Yo, watch and listen.
Championship Online.
Podcast with
this is Alex Mars here. Hi, Richard Modest.
So, please listen to it, otherwise be cursed. Okay, see you later. Love that, Dennis.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You're now watching and listening to Championship on the Line podcast. If you're new to this channel, my name is Alex, and this is my co-host, Rich. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we got a very, very special episode here. We got a special man, special wrestler in this podcast because, ladies and gentlemen, this person, Rich and I, we've been watching this wrestler for a long time since we were little kids, just killing it everywhere he was going in California, and just the legend. Ladies and gentlemen, legend all around here, and just an honor to have him on. And speaking, he has a big event coming up as he presents Hermanos Contra Cancer, which will be November 12th of this year. And ladies and gentlemen, we got the legend himself, SoCal Crazy. Thank you so much, man.
No, thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for having me on the show. Thank you guys for following not only me, but the whole wrestling scene out here in our area. So, we really, really appreciate you guys for sticking around for so long.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. And thank you for everything you've done for the fans and everything you've done for wrestling, man. And everything you've done has just been, just exciting, entertaining, everything you've done. It's amazing to watch, to see you wrestle every time in the ring. And, you've been fans for such a long time, and to have you on, man, it's an honor to have you. So I thank you very much for being on the pod. And before we start, we like to do a quick segment. We ask 10 fun questions about yourself. Is that cool we do it with you?
That's totally fine, yes.
All right, cool. Take it away, Rich.
Awesome. Start question number 1. What is your favorite movie of all time?
Ooh, my favorite movie of all time. I've always been a big Bruce Lee and the Lee family fan. So for me, I would probably have to say my favorite movie of all time would be The Crow. Loved Brandon Lee's portrayal of Eric Draven in that movie. I know there's been a lot of sequels, and I believe there's a remake in the works now. But for me, it doesn't. The Crow will always be Brandon Lee.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see a movie topping the original, especially film like The Crow.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been done before, the movie The Departed, Martin Scorsese movie, I believe, was a remake of a Japanese movie, I believe, if I'm correct. But I mean, he did that really well, but I just don't see anybody topping Alex Proyas' The Crow with Brandon Lee. I don't see that happening.
Oh yeah, I agree for sure. Awesome. The next one, do you have a favorite TV show of all time?
Oh man, this one's a kind of tricky one. Growing up, this might be before your guys' time, but growing up, I used to watch a show called Night Court with Harry Anderson, who was a comedian and a magician back in the day. So that show was cool. I love that show. I love Chips. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Chips. 1980, the Poncherello and Officer Baker. That was another favorite show of mine. But right now, I would have to say the show that I'm really into is Mayans MC. I love that. that show is just phenomenal show. The the Reyes brothers is like those two characters are just amazing in that show. Like the whole cast. I mean, the whole show is just amazing. I love that show.
Nice, awesome picks. I love the Chips too because we know now. I know like new generations don't know, but they did the movie remake, and then like usually like your dad shows you that like Chips is an awesome show, and the other two as well. It's classics.
That show Chips was so cool, man. I remember coming home and then watching it, and one of the biggest things on that show was they always did like at the beginning of the show there was always like an auto accident or something, and then they always remade the accident in the show, and that was the hooker for me. Like that always taught me that first scene of the show where they explain the accident or whatnot, and then it was up to them to figure out exactly what happened. So I mean, that show was amazing. The movie was cool. I did see it. I do love Michael Pena in it. I think they took it a little bit too far away from the original concept, but it was still a pretty good movie. It was pretty funny.
Oh yeah, it's pretty decent overall. I know, like you said, they kind of changed it, trying to make it more comedy, but still pretty good to see Eric Estrada in the ending.
Yeah, that was gonna be funny.
Yeah. That was a surprise. That was a surprise for sure.
Nice. The next question: do you have a favorite band or music artist you like to listen to?
Favorite music. Well, for those that have known me for a lot of years, I'm an old school punker. I've always liked old school punk. Obviously, I've listened to a lot of Mexican and regional Mexican music because of growing up in Mexico and my parents or my mom. But I'm a punk guy. I love NoFX, Lagwagon, Strung Out, Misfits. The Descendants. I'm an old school punk guy. So that's the music that I listen to now, and I have been for many, many years. As a matter of fact, I used the song "Scarecrow" by Strung Out was my intro, and it's my intro theme song for quite a while. That I enjoyed. I enjoyed that type of music. I don't know. It just gets you going.
Oh yeah, for sure. The next question: do you have a favorite meal, like your go-to meal you like to eat?
Yeah, I'm a big sucker for potato tacos. I love potato tacos. I can eat those every day. Obviously, they're not too healthy for you, depending on the oil that you use to cook them with. But potato tacos, hands down, would be my go-to. If that's not around, probably a slice of pizza.
Okay.
Like we feel you too. We come from like our mom from Mexico, so we come from a Mexican household, so she always switches up and she makes some potato tacos with some queso and some crema on it, and it hits the spot.
Oh yeah. Oh, you know what though, and there's nothing like mom's homemade potato tacos. You can go get them at a taco shop, but when your mom makes them, I don't know. It's like there's just something special about that.
Different, yeah.
That she makes them, or it's just so delicious.
Oh yeah, 100% agree. So next, do you have a favorite video game?
I don't know. Yeah, I would say Jesus. I think the last video game that I played would probably be it was probably a baseball game. As far as video games, I don't really play too much of like the shoot 'em up games or the one person player games, but I do love sports games. Like I love the baseball games, the golf games. I think there's one for fishing. So any kind of sports video game, I definitely am for those.
Yeah, same. I always play the sport games. I mean, like I know like the real gamers, like they look at you like, oh, like really? Like you like the sport games, but they're cool, man. Like the basketball and the football ones, it's simple.
Yeah. I mean, I have a couple of friends that since I've been sick and then sidelined, they've been telling me, oh, why don't you play like the Star Wars game with us online or Call of Duty online? But I don't know, that never really caught my attention because it was just the sports games have always been my my deal to go to. Yeah.
Nice. For the next question, do you have a favorite sports team?
I do. Depending on the sport, obviously, but If I wasn't wrestling, I would be a baseball player. I love baseball. Obviously, my team is the San Diego Padres. When I moved from Mexico, or when my mom brought me from Mexico here to the U.S., I arrived here at I was like 5 years old when we came here, and one of the very first things that happened to me was one of my uncles, who was already established here, took me to my first Padre game at the back then it was Jack Murphy Stadium, which eventually turned into Qualcomm Stadium, and now they tore it down and made a new stadium for the Aztecs. But yeah, Jack Murphy Stadium, watching Gwynn, Benito Santiago, all those old school players play, and it just caught my attention. And like I said, I mean, that turned me on to baseball, and for the longest time, wrestling and baseball were my two sports to go to, and eventually wrestling just took over, and I ended up going that route. But definitely my favorite sports team would be the San Diego Padres, hands down.
Just broke my heart, SoCal. You just broke my heart.
I know. I apologize. I know it's. And you know what? The funny thing is, living. I've been living in Orange County now for I don't know a couple of years now, and I never get to see any Padre games up here unless they do like a national televised game. But other than that, I can never watch any Padre games up here. So when I do get the chance to watch a game up here, I go berserk. Like, oh man, like I finally I get to watch my team and this and that, and it's just a great feeling living in a different area than where you grew up, and then getting blessed with a game of your favorite team. It's an incredible feeling.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Nice.
Although I will tell you guys this though. I will tell you this though, and I was gonna take this to my grave, but I did try a Dodger dog. I'm not a big Dodger fan, but I did try a Dodger dog, and those things are excellent.
Yes.
There you go.
About that.
Awesome. It's funny because I have the same conversation with Rick Ellis, because Rick Ellis is a huge Padres fan. So me and him always go back and forth, but it's all fun. But yeah, it's funny to talk to him about Padres because he's such a big fan.
yeah. It's funny because I have a lot of guys, a lot of workers up here. When I get to see them or we get booked on the same shows, that's the first thing we talk about is baseball. My Dodgers did this to your team, my Padres did this to your team, and it's great, man. It's great because that always gets us more, more of a. I guess our friendship grows a little bit more off of that rivalry.
Absolutely. Especially Padres, man, they're a threat now. I mean, with Soto on the team.
Yeah. Oh man, I was ecstatic when I learned about Soto. I heard the rumors and I knew, I was like, okay, maybe we can land this guy, but I honestly didn't think that we were going to. I was like, no way. I mean, there's no way that we can afford this. But yeah, they made moves, and I get alerts on my phone from every time the Padres do something, good or bad. And my phone was ringing off the hook that day when we got Soto. And I was like, I looked at it and literally I almost fainted. I was like, oh my God, now we got Soto, we got Bell. We had Tatis, unfortunately, that thing happened. But even with Kim taking over Tatis's spot, Kim has been playing excellent baseball right now. So I still think we have a chance. I think we will go to the playoffs. Will we go all the way? I want to say yes, but I don't think we will. Just for the mere fact, I think Soto and Bell and all the new guys that we got still have to find themselves in the lineup.
Yeah.
So I don't think we'll go too deep this year, but next year with everybody fresh and ready, I believe next year we'll do a lot more damage than this year.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely agree. Yeah, especially too, like they got on the team so late in the season, so like they didn't really give them time to get in smooth. But
to build.
Yeah, I think next year, man. I think next year might be they might be really good next year.
I hope so. I mean, I believe we've only been to the World Series twice, and we've lost both of the times. I believe the first one was like in '85, if I remember correctly. I want to say no, I don't even remember who we were playing with. But I do remember our second one, which I believe was in '94, maybe. And we played the Yankees, and the Yankees just swept us, which was horrible. It was a horrible. It was a good World Series that we were there, but we didn't win one game.
Yeah, it happens. Hopefully next year. Fingers crossed.
Hopefully. I'm hoping that they can do something next year.
Oh yeah. So with the next questions, I know it's Alex's favorite question here. If you're at 7-Eleven and you could pick 5 items, what would those 5 items be?
Oh man, that's a good question. I love Sevi's.
Yeah.
Let's see. Definitely water.
Okay.
Definitely some kind of protein cookie or bar.
Yeah.
Hot Cheetos for sure.
Yeah.
Probably a hot dog. I'm a hot dog junkie.
Yeah, same.
And I'd probably go with like a Ben and Jerry ice cream cup or something.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That would be my picture perfect Sevi's trip.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
A lot of people struggle with this question, man. A lot of people struggle. They take time. They take a few minutes for them to answer, but yeah, man.
Yeah, no, I love 7-Eleven. Like I absolutely love those things. Like I used to be an AM PM guy, and I switched over to 7-Eleven, and I've never looked back. So
yeah,
for me, 7 is awesome.
Agree.
Awesome. With the next question, before a match, do you have a ritual you like to do?
I do. I actually I pray. I take about 3 to 4, maybe sometimes 5 minutes, depending on who I'm with. But I do pray. I give thanks to the Lord for giving me the opportunity to step into the ring one more time. I pray that myself and my opponent walk into the ring and we walk out of the ring. I pray for the fans that are there. But more than anything, I think I pray for the fact to just have confidence in myself for the next 20 to 30 minutes. It really helps me out a lot. It keeps me clear-headed, and I don't think about anything else other than the strength and love that I'm feeling at that moment, and getting ready to go out for the match. So I would have to say I pray a lot. That would be my go-to ritual before a match.
Nice. That you're yourself, 100% great performance, and you're praying for everyone's safety and health, which is awesome.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's really what it's about. I mean, it's obviously we're in there to do a work and to do a job that we got hired to do, but at the same time, you want to walk in, you want to walk out.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Oh yeah, for sure. With the next question, do you have a favorite season during the year, whether it's winter, summer?
Yes, actually, I'm a big winter guy. I love hoodies. So I'm a big hoodie and beanie guy, as you can tell. And I'm only wearing the beanie now because I know it's like 100 degrees, but my mohawk is all jacked up. So I was like, let me just put a hat on. But yeah, winter. I'm a winter guy. I love winter. I love drinking the hot cocoa out in the patio, watching the weather or the rain. So winter would definitely be my favorite season.
Nice.
I think Alex and I share that same sentiment. I'm sure Alex for sure has like 30 hoodies in his closet just waiting to put those on.
Yeah, just waiting to put them on during the winter.
Those are the best. I think I'm the same way as Alex. I have about 30 or so in the closet just ready to jump out.
Oh yeah, can't wait for winter.
And also too, like in the summertime, it's like the best time because like they lower, like you can get jackets for like a really good price. So I get a bunch of them now.
Yes,
and in the wintertime,
right?
Like ready to rock.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, like when I was wrestling in high school, with the wrestling in high school, you're always cutting weight, always cutting weight. And so I got so used to wearing hoodies during the summer, just I would wear it to go running, just to cut weight a little bit faster or whatnot. But I got so used to that I didn't even think about. It didn't even occur to me that I was wearing a hoodie in 80-degree weather or anything like that.
That's so true.
Yeah.
So, with the next was last but not least. If you could have a match with someone who isn't a wrestler, it could be a celebrity, an athlete, a fictional character. Who would it be with?
Ooh, You know what? I would have to say that I would love to have a match with George Clooney. I'm a big George Clooney fan. I love his work. I've always loved his work. Even when he did the run-ins in the sitcoms back in the 80s. But I would have to definitely say that my celebrity opponent would be George Clooney.
Nice. Who's going over?
Yeah.
Oh, Clooney for sure. I would put Clooney over. Yes. I would make him work though. I would definitely make him work. I would make him earn the victory, but he would be over. Yes.
Nice. Awesome. Well, again, SoCal Crazy, thank you so much again for being on the podcast, man. Honor to have you on. And obviously, I want to talk about, this show that you're going to put out, this event you're going to put out. Obviously, Hermanos Contra Cancer, which is November 12th. Tell us about it, man. Tell us behind this event that you're putting on.
Cool. So this event actually, it all started when I was laying in a hospital bed, and I had just gotten my my second surgery for the cancer. And I remember, I think every wrestler before they call it quits wants to put on a show just to see if they can do it. And that has always been in my head, I always thought, man, maybe I can do it. I never had the desire to actually go and do it. It's always just been stuck in my head. But one day, like I said, I was laying in my hospital bed and I was hearing where I was, the wing of the hospital where I was the cancer care wing. And I heard a lot of I don't want to bring anybody down, but I heard a lot of crying and a lot of screaming, a lot of people in pain. It's just things that I don't wish anybody, I don't wish anybody would go through that. Unfortunately, at that time, people were going through that as I was myself. But as I was laying there, I started brainstorming and I started thinking, how can I make this a positive? How can I be laying here in this hospital bed knowing what I'm going through, but how can I make this into a positive? And so I started brainstorming that night, and I had a piece of paper and a pen, and I was just writing a lot of gibberish. I was writing how I felt that night, how my body was feeling, what I was going through mentally. And eventually I just started writing down a match list. I started writing down matches of what I wanted to see, as a fan. And literally that's where the idea started from. And then that started to roll on. And then I started thinking, okay, as I was getting the information about the colon cancer myself, I started finding out that not a lot of people know that they even have this, because there's really no symptoms for it. You don't get sick, you're not in pain or anything like that. And so I started brainstorming and thinking, okay, maybe if I could do some kind of Lucha Libre or wrestling event, but bring awareness to this cancer at the same time. And essentially that's how this turned out. I got in touch with Jake from EWF, and I started brainstorming with him. I got in contact with Andy from Anchors Away from New Wave Pro Wrestling. So I started picking his head, and eventually, the information that they both gave me, I started turning it in my head, and that's how this thing came to be. And I figured, okay, if I can put on a wrestling show, but at the same time make people aware of this cancer, then let's do it. And that's how this show came to be. It all started from me staying in a hospital bed to me brainstorming and to me finally saying, okay, let's get the courage, let's run this show, let's get the word out there for this cancer. This, they call it the dead or the silent cancer or the silent killer, because again, there's really no symptoms for it. I got lucky. I actually went into the hospital because I got vaccinated with the COVID shot, and I started feeling sick. And so I went to the hospital and I told them, hey, you know what? I got the shot. I don't feel good. Can you guys check me out? They gave me a CAT scan, and luckily enough, out of that CAT scan is where they found the cancer. So I was really, really fortunate and extremely, extremely lucky that they found it that way. I've heard stories of other guys, of other people, I should say, because this does affect male and female, of other people getting the cancer and passing away within a week because it had already metabolized all over their body. When I found out I had it, I actually had it in my intestine, and it spread to my liver. So it was already spreading, which is why they classified me as a stage 4 cancer patient. Luckily, though, they were able to cut it off my liver, get it out of my intestines. I did the whole chemotherapy, which was not fun, and I surpassed it. But going back to your original question, that's how the show came to be. It was just me sitting in the hospital bed trying to make a negative into a positive.
Mm-hmm. And also telling us, you're telling us earlier, but like for now, like you're cancer free, so right now you're recovering stage, right?
Right. So right now I'm what they consider remission, which is absolutely no cancer in your system. But that doesn't mean that I'm out of the woods yet, because I have gotten it in the past, or I did have it in the past. I could get it again. And so the plan for myself, and that I talked to with my doctor, whom I owe my life to, Dr. Choi, amazing. I have another scan due in October. And then depending on how that looks, then I'll be scanned every 6 months. So for the rest of my life, I'm going to have a scan every 6 months, which is totally doable. It's about a half-hour scan, maybe a 40-minute scan, but those 40 minutes can save your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, putting on this event and doing this the cancer awareness and also like all these years you've always wrestled, but now you're shifting new roles, now being a booker and now being the promoter. How has that role been for you for this event and doing something new?
Right.
Like, has it been easy for you or a struggle?
I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm going to say it's a struggle. And the only reason I'm saying that is because you're absolutely right. I've always been on the other side of the spectrum. I've always been the wrestler. I've never had to have the responsibility of getting a venue, getting a ring, getting the card together, getting workers together, making sure you have insurance and, everything that goes to putting on a wrestling show. Like I knew what went on, but I didn't know how it affected people, like I would see Adam, Ginsberg do his deal with the West Coast Wrestling Company and what he went through. And, Jeff with SoCal Pro, Bart with AWS, Jesse with EWF, and what all these guys go through. And now I can honestly say that I have a whole new respect for them. It is a lot of hard work putting on a show, completely hard work. I've been lucky enough where a lot of guys that I have on this show have come up to me and have asked me that they want to be a part of this because they have been affected by cancer in some form or in some way, or they're dealing with a family member who has cancer now. So I've got very lucky that a lot of guys want to do this show for me. Or no, I wouldn't even say for me. It's more for them, because that's really what this event is about. It's more for everybody to get to know what this cancer can do. But as far as putting it together, it's very difficult. Like I said, I have a whole new respect for the promoters and the guys that run companies. I don't think I could ever do that myself, honestly. Just sitting here and going over the show and going over the card, I'm getting upset at myself that I'm not in the card. So it's a little frustrating, but at the same time, I'm learning a lot. I'm learning a lot about the other aspect of the wrestling business.
Mm-hmm. And also, do you see yourself like down the road putting shows and shows, or right now you're just taking it this one at a time?
Actually, no. I've actually had an idea running around in my head for a while about running shows myself. Mm-hmm. The idea that I've had running in my head is I know a lot of companies nowadays, they use a lot of the hot guys, a lot of the hot talents right now, guys that are on demand everywhere. And they should, because that's where you get your income from. I mean, that's where most of the fans want to see. They want to see like the guys that are out there right now that are hot. But the idea that I had, it was I wanted to bring back a lot of old school wrestling guys that no longer wrestle anymore, that maybe want to come back for maybe just one more time, just to get it out of their systems. Unfortunately with wrestling, a lot of old school guys that do retire, they don't stay retired. They actually come back and want to do one more match or whatever it is. And I myself love that about wrestling. I love that because you can come back. Even if you retire, you can come back and be like, okay, well, I just want to do one more. And so the idea that I had was I wanted to run a show where I would be alternating matches. So one match would be your old school guys. I want to come back just for one more match. And then another match would be your new talent that's tearing up the scene right now, and kind of alternate that. So old, new.
Nice.
That's the idea that I'm cranking in my head. And now, is it 100% developed? It's not. It really isn't. I'm still thinking about it. But that's, as far as me running shows, that would be the concept of what I'm looking at.
And also for us, is there anything you can announce for this card? Is there any matches, anything you would like to announce or?
Yeah. Honestly, I do have a match announcement. I will tell you guys this: the card that I have is a 7-match card. So it'll be a 7-match card. So we're looking at a pretty lengthy event, which I think it's only fitting for that amount of time with the information that we want to give out about cancer. But yes, one match that I can announce right now and that I want to announce is actually a singles match that we have planned, and that singles match is actually going to be with Joey the Bone Barone taking on the returning Nick Madrid.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. So that is one match that is definitely going to happen. We'll have Nick Madrid taking on Joey the Bone Barone. Unfortunately, I can't give you guys any more surprises because I don't want to spill the whole beans. I want people to be like, oh, okay, what's next? Until finally the whole card is unveiled and hopefully it gets people's attention. But definitely these two guys, they're guys that I've worked with in the past, and I've known them for a lot of years, and I believe that they have been in the ring together, and it's going to be a treat seeing both of them in the ring together one more time. Like I said, we've missed Nick Madrid. I know he's been doing his own deal, his own family deal, and but we have been missing him as a wrestler, and now I'm talking about as a fan. I'm a big Nick Madrid fan, and so to have him available and to have him on this show means a lot to me. So I'm really glad that he was able to come out and be on this. And the same goes with Joey Barone. A tremendous talent. He's been away for a little bit, but I'm glad he's able to come back and clear his schedule. And we have our first match. So it's Joey the Bone Barone taking on Nick Madrid.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And thank you so much for sharing this with us, man. This is really an honor to hear this match. This is going to be an exciting match.
Oh, yeah.
And also for the fans, they want to know more. Where can they find out more about this event and the matches, your announcements?
Right. So if you guys want to keep up with me, definitely go to my Instagram. I keep, I keep tabs on my Instagram. If you guys have any questions, you guys can DM me on my Instagram. Doesn't matter the question. If you guys want to know what color the bathroom of the venue is, let me know. I'll share that with you. No problem. Whatever you guys would like to know, go ahead and DM me. But as far as the show and the info, like I said, my Instagram, I do have a GoFundMe account going on right now for the show. And the reason I did the GoFundMe, not so much to fund the show, but it is more to try to get more donations donate to a cancer society. I would like to raise enough money to go ahead and donate it to cancer. And I know there's a cancer institute in Irvine. There's Hoag Hospital that I've been talking to. Obviously, I've been talking to Kaiser Permanente, which is my hospital that has been treating me. So that's that. You can go to the GoFundMe account. I have the link in my bio on my IG. And then other than that, just pay attention mostly to my IG. I'll be posting more stuff as the time approaches.
Awesome. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll put everything he just announced. We'll put it down in the description down below where you could go to GoFundMe and support this amazing show and amazing event that he's going to put out. And also, we were talking about this earlier, but like we said, Rich and I, the last time we saw you was during the West Coast, the Wrestling Company show. And it was a show that you got inducted into the West Coast Hall of Fame. So tell me about it. What was it like for you to be in the show, but also be inducted in the Hall of Fame? How special was that for you?
That was very special. It was definitely unexpected. I didn't know anything about it until I got there. When Adam called me and asked me if I could assist that show, I was a little hesitant because of my chemotherapy and all that, and the chemotherapy kills your immune system. So, my worst fear was getting the COVID. I wouldn't know how my body would have reacted at that time if I would have gotten sick with COVID. I honestly don't know what would have happened. So I was a little hesitant of taking it. But I knew how much it meant, not only to Adam, but it meant to me, and it meant to the people, the West Wrestling Company fans that have been following us. So I just made a decision. I said, you know what? Okay, I'll be there. Let's do it. Luckily for me, it ended up it was an outdoor event, so it was okay. When I got called into the ring, it was so surreal because you don't think about stuff like that. At least I didn't think about Hall of Fame or anything like that. Even when I was healthy, when I was healthy in wrestling, the last thing on my mind was any kind of Hall of Fame or anything. It was, it was always, okay, where's the next match? Where am I going next? Who am I working next? There was never really any accolades. So when I got presented that, I was extremely honored. I was extremely floored. The best part of it was I was able to share it with all of you guys. So it was a total honor, and it's a big highlight of my life. It really is. So I give West Coast Wrestling Company a lot of credit for sticking with me. Even though some of my I know some of my matches with them probably weren't as best as I could have given them. But I give them thanks. I give them gratitude for sticking with me. And for giving me the platform that they have given me. I'm forever grateful for them.
Oh yeah, man. Like I said, Rich and I were talking about it. You deserve it, and you just all the matches you put in, the matches that Rich and I saw, the matches you put with Cross and the matches you put with Ellis, man, just amazing. Just an honor to see you be in the ring and just to do what you do, man. And it shows that you love this so much and you put everything in the line in the ring.
Right. Yeah. No, and I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for that compliment. And it is. Like I said, if I wasn't wrestling, I'd be playing baseball. But wrestling, captured me at a young age, and I've always been a fan, and I'd never looked back. I've had my struggles in wrestling. I've had doors shut on me before. I had doors open. I've been to places that I've never would have been if it wasn't for wrestling. So I owe this sport a lot. And like I said, I owe WCWC a lot, and it's just been great. It's been an awesome journey.
And also too, you mentioned earlier, obviously the goal for you is to, obviously you were planning to come back for this show, right? To go back in the ring for this event, but obviously, things happening, your goal is to return to the ring, right?
Right. So that was one of the things that I did have a conversation with my doctor. he was very hesitant about me returning to the ring. You know, he was like, maybe it's time you do something else. But I've been following his instructions. I've been taking care of myself. I've been working out. I don't push it too much. I only do what my body is capable of doing at this time right now. I've gotten a lot of good workout tips from Hector Canales. So right now, I feel like I'm okay. And, talking to my doctor, following his routine, he feels a little bit more confident now about my return. But my ultimate goal is, yes, I still want to return to the ring. I'm hoping. I was trying to be back in time for this cancer show. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to be cleared to be back in the ring. I wanted to be back in January. That's not going to happen. So I'm probably not going to be ring ready until maybe March or April of next year, which is a little painful, but at the same time, I totally understand because I don't want to rush this. I know wrestling isn't going to go anywhere. Wrestling is always going to be there. It'll wait for you. And so I want to be at 110% before I step back into the ring. But the ultimate goal is, yes, definitely return to the ring.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, when you do make your return to the ring, is there certain goals or anyone particular you would like to have a match with?
There is. I mean, I do have a list of guys that I would like to work with. Some of the names on that list, unfortunately, they're retired, so I'll never get that opportunity. But there's a couple of names that I would like to be in the ring with. There's a lot of places that I would like to go. I've been out almost a year, if not a year, and a lot of new places have been popped up. A lot of new visitors to the SoCal scene that showed up. GCW that has been here. I know that they're using a lot of local talent guys. There's a lot of companies that I would love to return to. EWF, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, SoCal Pro definitely, which opened the doors for me in the very beginning. So there's a lot of companies and a lot of guys that I would love to work with. A lot of new faces that I've been seeing pop out. A lot of new faces that I would love to be. That I would love the opportunity to get into the ring with.
Mm-hmm. And especially, looking back in your career, you've been in the ring with such, the greats. You've been in the ring with guys like Psychosis. You've been the guys with Juventud, Rey Mysterio. You also wrestled in Japan. So, like, in your opinion, like, what's been like the highlight of your wrestling career? What's been the best moment that you look back and you're proud of?
Oh, wow. Wow, that's a good question. You know what? I think one of the proudest moments that I've had was the handshake that I got from Psychosis. He was one of the guys that I followed and I grew up watching. And when Jeff, SoCal Pro, came to me and told me, hey, I want to put you with Psychosis, I was starstruck. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is an amazing opportunity. Like, yes, for sure. And I was very nervous meeting him, and I was nervous being in the ring with him. But once I heard the bell ring, and we all four of us got into that wrestling mind frame, all that butterflies and all that went away, and it was just me and another wrestler in the ring, But after the match, when he came up to me and he shook my hand and he said, "Good job," and I remember telling him, I was like, "Thank you, sir. Thank you for this moment." And when he shook my hand and then he bowed down, that was, for me, that was like probably the best moment in wrestling ever. Just having him bow down to me like that, like a show of respect, and then telling me, "You know what you're doing," is amazing. It was just, that's probably one of the proudest moments in wrestling that I've ever had.
Mm-hmm. And was there any like advice that he given you, like anything that you keep with? Still
Yeah. He I always try to pick their heads after the match. I always tell them, what can I improve on? What did I do wrong? What do you think I should work on, and this and that. And one of the things that he told me really was be more vocal. And I do notice that sometimes when I wrestle, I'm not vocal a lot. I try to have my body be more vocal than my voice. But what I mean by that is I try to show more of the suffering or the happiness body wise than me jumping up on a turnbuckle and screaming, "Oh, hey, we did it!" But he did tell me that he said be a little bit more vocal. The crowd will interact a lot more with you, and that's something that I've used ever since he told me that.
That's so cool, man. That's cool. Yeah, especially like wrestling, like a guy that you look up to, especially having a match with him and him bowing. Like that's such a cool moment.
Oh yeah. And this is probably the wrong way for me to go into it, but because of my past experience with some high profile names, sometimes I'll go into a profile match thinking the absolute worst. I'll think, oh, I don't think this guy's gonna like me, or we're not gonna get along. So then that way, when we do get along and he does like me, it's kind of like a surprise to me. Like, okay, cool. Okay, he's not like how I thought he was. He's actually a pretty cool guy. So yeah, it's a little thing that I do. I don't know. It's kind of weird, I guess.
No, man. I mean, like I said, man, you put so many classic matches, especially with all these, these big names, but putting, watching, because I was watching a lot of like the YouTube videos and watching your matches, man, and all your matches have been so exciting and entertaining. Every time you go in the ring, man, it's always fun to watch.
Right. You know what though? I would have to add on though that out of all, I've had quite a few opportunities to wrestle big names, but if I had to pick between wrestling a big name and wrestling a local guy, I would definitely go with the local guy. And the only reason I'm saying that is because from my experience wrestling my peers, local guys here, we seem to get more out of each other than with a bigger name. It's almost like we're testing ourselves out with each other to see where we're at. Because with a big name, you don't really have that test because they're already there, like it's up to you to get to that level. But when you're with somebody who's training with you or somebody that's been through the exact same training as you have, then you have that competition in the ring where you're both here, but maybe one guy can be up here in the ring. So now you got to catch him up. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So to me, those are the fun matches.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. And especially now, especially with wrestling and independent wrestling, especially right now, it's, as big as I think it's ever been. What are your thoughts on the wrestling today, and how much wrestling do you watch? Especially with AEW and WWE. What are your thoughts on it?
When I was wrestling frequently, I never watched the product on TV. Mm-hmm. And the only reason I didn't watch it was because as a wrestler, you don't, well, this is just me personally. As a wrestler, I can't watch a wrestling match without thinking in my head, oh, they're going to do this next, or this next, or this next. Like, I can't just sit there and enjoy it like I used to, So for a long time, when I was wrestling frequently, I never really watched the product just because that surprise element was gone for me. When I got sick and I was staying in the hospital, I started rewatching the Raws and the SmackDowns. I got into the AEW Dynamite shows and their pay-per-view shows that they did. And I watched I watched some Impact shows. So now I can say now I do watch the product. And just because I'm not wrestling, so I'm watching it more as a fan now. Like I got really excited when Kenny Omega came back the other night. It was amazing. So yeah, I hate to say this, but I guess it took me being in the hospital and not wrestling to watch wrestling, which is horrible to say, but that's what got me going into wrestling again, watching it. Now I'm glad where wrestling is. I'm glad that Triple H is now basically taking over WWE, which is going to be amazing for that company now. He's a little bit more open with local talents, with the indie guys, so it's going to be awesome. AEW is doing a phenomenal job. I think, they have a lot of critics, but their product has been amazing. Impact is getting a lot better. Impact has been going down. The last couple of months that I've been seeing and I've been watching, their talent has been great. One of the best guys that they have right now. And I'm not just saying this because he's a buddy of mine, but Willie Mack turned that to me. Willie Mack did a phenomenal job in that company. He was one of the guys that helped turn that company around. So right now the state of wrestling is I think is amazing, and I think it's only going to get better.
Yeah, definitely agree. And also, what advice would you give to someone that wants to lace up a pair of boots and become a professional wrestler? Like, what advice would you give to someone that wants to be in the business?
The best advice that I could give anybody if they're interested in becoming a wrestler or want to even train to become a wrestler, or even just go through the training at all to get a conditioning, would be cardio. Cardio is huge. It doesn't matter how much muscles you have or how big you look, or if you have that Arnold Schwarzenegger physique. Obviously that's what sells, but you wouldn't be able to run that body without cardio. Like, cardio is very, very important in professional wrestling and Lucha Libre. If you can't do a 5-minute match, a 5-minute Lucha Libre match, a 5-minute Japanese strong style match, then wrestling probably isn't for you. So the best advice I can give anybody who wants to get into this is work on your cardio. Go running, jump rope, the elliptical machine, the stairs, any kind of cardio, 30 minutes a day. And that's really all you need, 30 minutes a day. And you'll get that going. And that's when I was teaching down at SoCal Pro, that was one of the main things that I drilled into everybody's head. Always cardio is going to save your wrestling career.
Absolutely, man. Definitely agree. And speaking about SoCal Pro, as you can see behind us, we're very big. We have collected a lot of figures. Obviously, SoCal Pro, they actually put out a figure of you, right? There was a figure that was made of you. Right. And it's funny because Rich and I, we collect a lot of figures, and we always try to get these figures. We looked everywhere, but tell us a little bit about that figure.
Yeah, so oh man, I don't remember the exact year that happened, but I do remember Jeff did come up to me and he was like, "Hey, I'm thinking of doing some action figures. What do you think?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. I mean, whatever you think is going to help SoCal Pro, let's do it." And so he remember when he sent me the picture of the prototype, and obviously the prototype looked really weird. It didn't even look like myself. I was like, okay, hopefully it doesn't look like this, but okay, this is a start.
Yeah.
Eventually he ended up doing some figures, and they did turn out really well. They sold out. Wow. They sold out pretty quickly, if I remember correctly. I remember I saved one for myself, but I did do a show in Arizona, and I brought it with me. My intention was just to bring the figure, just to put it in my merch table, just to grab people's attention. But I do remember somebody came up to me and they were like, "Hey man, I really want to buy this. Is it for sale?" I was like, "You know what? It's not for sale, but hopefully there'll be more in the future." Unfortunately, Jeff never was able to get more done. I think he's working on a couple now. I'm not 100% sure. But I don't think you've seen the last of action figures of SoCal Crazy.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, because Rich, like, we looked at that picture.
I was hunting everywhere, eBay, Mercari, Facebook, like wrestling groups, and the only one I found, now I'm looking up to make sure, the only one I ever found was the Johnny Yuma one.
Right.
Oh, nice. Like, I need the
Yeah,
SoCal one.
yeah, I think he did. He did a couple. Like he did myself, and I believe Ricky Mandel,
Oh.
Yuma. Who else did he do? Off the top of my head, I don't remember. Those are the only ones I remember right now. But I think there was two more that he did, and I can't remember.
Nice, nice. One day, Rich. One day we'll
One day, yeah. Well, I gotta find out.
Well, I'll tell you guys what. If he does, if they do come through and it happens again, I'll definitely make sure and I'll save you guys too.
Oh, nice. Thank you, man.
Thank
you. Cool. And then before we wrap up, is there any message to the fans out there listening to this that you'd like to give a message to?
Yeah, just keep supporting your local wrestling. Here in the Southern California scene, we have a hotbed of wrestling. In fact, even in Northern California, all of California State, wrestling is pretty good and it's going on great. We have a lot of good companies. So if you can, please go out, support your local company, support your local wrestler. They're giving 110% in the ring for your entertainment. But at the same time, us wrestlers, we're nothing without you guys. So it's an equal partnership. So hopefully you guys can go out, keep on supporting the local wrestlers. Keep supporting wrestling in itself. This sport is the sport of kings, as they say. It's an amazing sport. You meet a lot of wonderful people, in and out of the ring. So, keep on the support. Also, I'm gonna say this until my face turns blue, but don't. If you feel something, if you feel sick, if you feel something, don't ignore your body. Go get checked out. I know it's a scary feeling. It's a scary thought because nobody wants to hear you have cancer or you have this or you have that. Obviously, nobody wants to hear it. But unfortunately, the only way that we're going to live a good life is if we know we're staying away from the bad stuff. So if you feel anything in your body, you feel wrong, something's not supposed to feel like that, please, I encourage you, go get it checked out. Because if I wouldn't have gotten checked out for this COVID shot, I probably wouldn't be here right now with you guys.
Definitely. And obviously, please support SoCal Crazy's event. Obviously, SoCal Crazy presents Hermanos Contra Cancer, which will be November 12th. And also follow SoCal Crazy on the social medias to find out the announcements for the show. And also go to the GoFundMe link will be down in the description down below. And is there anything else, social media, anything you'd like to tag on?
Just guys, check out my IG, SoCal Crazy. Please check out the show. If you can, please push the show. We want to make this event not so much as a wrestling show, but as an informative event for not so much colon cancer, but any type of cancer, I only picked colon cancer because that's what I was dealing with, but there's all sorts of cancer that we're going to be giving out information that night as well, for any kind of cancer. And if you are going through this or if a loved one is going through this, please, we invite you to the show. Please come out. We're going to support you. We're going to try to have resources for you. We're going to have a tribute wall for those people who unfortunately didn't surpass this disease. So we're just going to try to make this a very positive and informative event. So please, I encourage everybody to come out to the show and spread the word, and then just have a really good time that night.
Definitely. Ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to want to miss this. Please come out and support this event. And obviously, we're going to put the links down in the description down below where you can support SoCal Crazy, support Hermanos Contra Cancer and cancer awareness. And again, SoCal, thank you so much again for being on the podcast, man. Honor to have you on, and just thank you so much for what you've done for wrestling, man.
Well, no, thank you guys. I mean, I can't take any credit. This is all of you guys. You fans are what makes us. You really are. Without you guys, we're just a bunch of guys in tights and masks jumping around. So from the bottom of my heart, I thank you guys. I thank the fans for the support. Again, not just for me, but for the whole scene. So thank you guys.
No, man, thank you, man. And obviously thank you thank you to all the people that are watching this, and please again go support it, go support his event. And that's gonna do it us for here at Championship Online Podcast, and we're gonna see you guys next time.